The C-130 Hercules, their chariot of the sky, roared through the Afghan night. Kavran and his team, the Sky Guardians, were strapped in, their eyes fixed on the digital map blinking in the dim light. The hijacked plane, a Boeing 737, was their target, a dot moving steadily towards Kandahar. 2 minutes to drop zone, the pilot's voice crackled through their headsets. Adrenaline surged through Kavran's veins. This was it. This was their chance to finish this, to bring those innocent people home. The jumpmaster gave the signal. One by one, the Sky Guardians launched themselves out of the plane, swallowed by the night. The wind whipped at them, the ground a distant blur. Kavran, a master of the skies, steered his parachute with precision, his eyes never leaving the target. The hijacked 737 touched down on the desolate airstrip below. This was their moment. The Sky Guardians landed silently, their faces grim, their weapons ready. The chase was over. The fight was about to begin. Kandahar at night was a symphony of shadows and whispers. The air was thick with dust and the stench of fuel. The hijacked 737 stood on the tarmac, bathed in floodlights, an aluminum and steel hostage in this desolate land. Kavran, a shadow himself, led his team towards the main terminal. Gunfire erupted, shattering the silence. Rohan's men were waiting, the Sky Guardians fanned out, their movements swift and deadly, their training kicking in. Bullets ricocheted off the walls. Kavran, a deadly dance of agility and precision, took down 2 men with a single burst from his suppressed MP7. The terminal became a whirlwind of chaos, a ballet of death played out under the cold desert moon. Their objective was clear: secure the hostages. Their enemy was determined, their leader ruthless. But Kavran and his team, the Sky Guardians, were a force to be reckoned with, their resolve forged in fire and tempered by sacrifice. The air crackled with tension. Inside the terminal, Kavran found himself face to face with Rohan's top lieutenant, a hulking giant named Devesh. Devesh grinned, a cruel, predatory smile, and charged. Kavran, smaller but far more agile, dodged the attack. He countered with a swift kick to Devesh's knee, a move honed from years of Krav Maga training. Devesh roared, his rage echoing through the terminal. The fight was a blur of fists and feet. Kavran, a whirlwind of motion, exploited every opening, every weakness. Devesh, relying on brute strength, was slowly being worn down. He was a bull charging blindly, while Kavran was a viper striking with deadly precision. With a final desperate lunge, Devesh left himself exposed. Kavran seized the opportunity, delivering a crushing blow to Devesh's throat. Devesh crumpled to the ground, gasping for air. Kavran stood over him, his face a mask of cold fury.
Kavran, he said, the name rolling off his tongue like a curse. We meet at last.
Kavran froze. That voice. He knew that voice. It sent a chill down his spine, a shiver of recognition mixed with dread. It couldn't be.
You don't recognize me, do you? Rohan continued, his voice laced with the chilling amusement. Look closer, old friend. Or should I say, brother?
Kavran's blood ran cold. He stared at the shadowy figure on the balcony overlooking the terminal. Memories, long buried, surfaced with a vengeance. Memories of a childhood cut short, of a brother lost. Memories of Rohan. His own flesh and blood, the brother he thought was dead, was the mastermind behind this hijacking. The revelation hit Kavran like a physical blow, leaving him reeling in shock and disbelief.
Focus, Captain!
The sharp voice of Maya, his second-in-command, cut through Kavran's shock.
She was right. Personal demons could wait. The hostages needed them.
Maya, a formidable soldier with nerves of steel, continued to provide covering fire. Her eyes darted across the terminal, assessing the situation, her mind a tactical computer calculating their next move.
Meanwhile, Javi, their demolitions expert, was working his magic on the security grid. His nimble fingers danced across his custom-built console, bypassing firewalls and disabling alarms with the grace of a concert pianist.
Akash, the team's sniper, provided cover from a vantage point. His breathing steady, his pulse slow. He was a phantom, a whisper of death in the night. He was their guardian angel, watching over them from the shadows.
Together, they were the Sky Guardians, a team forged in fire and bound by duty, and they would not fail.
Section 6. The Serpent's Genesis. Rohan's journey from abandoned child to ruthless terrorist had been a long and arduous one. He had seen the worst humanity had to offer, felt the sting of betrayal, tasted the bitterness of despair. He had clawed his way out of the slums of Mumbai, fueled by a burning desire for vengeance against a world that had forsaken him. He had embraced the shadows, becoming a phantom, a whisper of terror in the night. He had honed his skills in the crucible of conflict, learning the art of manipulation, the power of fear, the seductive allure of violence. He had gathered followers, men and women seduced by his charisma and driven by their own demons. And now, he had orchestrated this hijacking, this elaborate spectacle, to draw out Kavran, the brother who had abandoned him, the brother he blamed for his suffering. This was his twisted masterpiece, his revenge served cold. Section 7. Ambush in the ruins. With the hostages secured and Rohan's men neutralized, Kavran led his team and the terrified passengers out of the terminal. They moved cautiously through the maze of abandoned buildings that surrounded the airstrip, their weapons at the ready. The night was eerily quiet, the only sound the crunch of their boots on the dusty ground. Kavran couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, a sixth sense honed from years of living on the edge. Suddenly, all hell broke loose. Gunfire erupted from the surrounding buildings, a deadly crossfire that pinned them down. Kavran and his team hit the ground, returning fire, desperately seeking cover. They were ambushed, but by whom? Rohan and his men were neutralized, or so they thought. A new player had entered the game, a player with their own agenda, a player shrouded in mystery.
We're pinned down!
We need to get those people to safety!
Kavran scanned their surroundings. To their right, a crumbling building offered a sliver of cover. It wasn't much, but it was their only chance.
Harvey, lay down some smoke.
Kavran ordered, his voice tight with urgency.
Maya, you and Akash cover us. We're making a run for it.
Javi pulled out a smoke grenade, his movements swift and practiced. He pulled the pin and hurled it towards the building, creating a temporary curtain of concealment.
Go, go, go!
Kavran yelled, ushering the terrified hostages toward the building as bullets whizzed past them. They moved as one, a desperate dash for survival. Section 9. Trapped. They huddled inside the dilapidated building, their backs pressed against the crumbling walls, the air thick with tension and the smell of cordite. They had escaped the ambush for now, but they were far from safe. The gunfire continued outside, relentless, unforgiving. They were trapped, surrounded by an unknown enemy, their fate hanging precariously in the balance. Kavran checked his weapon, his face grim. He had no idea who was behind this new threat, or what their motives were. But one thing was certain. They were in for a long night. The hostages huddled together, their faces pale with fear, their eyes wide with terror. Kavran met their gaze, his expression hardening with resolve. He would get them out of this. He had to. But as the night wore on, and the gunfire showed no sign of abating, a chilling thought crept into his mind. What if they were not meant to survive this night?